What's up, people? We are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. Sad times are upon us as Lilly has left for Scotland. It's freaking official. She's gone. She left for Scotland. She left Hisao behind. And yeah, she's just gone. I can't even freaking believe it. So I don't know what the hell we're gonna do now, right? I mean, this is the Lilly route, right? There's supposed to be a good ending. I don't know if there's a neutral ending, I don't know if there's a bad ending, but generally there's supposed to be a good ending at least, right? So how the fuck are we going to achieve that now, since she's left for Scotland? The only possibility is we're either gonna go after her, she's gonna come back for some reason, or we just, jump over to the Hanako route right now. I don't freaking know what's gonna happen, but let us continue to find out. The snap of my mobile phone's closing contrasts with the ambient chatter and noise audible even in the hallway outside the library. It's the first day of the summer holidays, a time that had perpetually seemed so far away, and yet it's now not only here, but also made painfully obvious by the students, or lack thereof, left in the school. Most students have returned home to spend the holidays with relatives by now. The few that are left are mostly chatting between themselves, usually about what they intend to do in the coming weeks. That's the worst thing as well, right? We have no class anymore. Like, usually I feel like every single route actually ended like either before summer holiday or somewhere in the beginning of summer holiday. So how is this gonna happen? And Hisao has nothing to do here anymore, right? It makes me feel like the odd one out for taking advantage of the school library being open for the first several days of the holidays. Ostensibly, it's for students to drop off any books they've borrowed and have yet to return, and for those who'll have their parents pick them up to help pass the time until they get whisked away. Thanks to the recent lengthy phone call from my parents, which had so rudely awoken me from my sleeping on the beanbag at the back of the library, I'm now in the latter category. Sliding my phone back into my pocket, this time remembering to set it to silence, I go back into the quiet and wholly placid room. It's a nostalgic sight. Just as when Lilly first led me to the library, the orange tint of the sunset bathes the room in its light, while Hanako sits on a beanbag, silently reading, and Yuko fusses, just barely visible behind the counter. Hanako especially has been noticeably more quiet than usual since yesterday's happenings, but I can't really blame her. It wasn't just me that depended on that person after all. I quietly walk back to the beanbag near her where I'd sat before, being doubly careful not to make any unnecessary noise. The soft puff it gives as the bag takes my weight makes Hanako's eyes flick towards me, but only for a second. I get the feeling that Hanako's been quiet only partly out of sadness following Lilly's departure. Rather, she seems more thoughtful and measured than I'd expected, perhaps due to her desire of working out how to deal with Lilly's leaving rather than just being depressed over it. It makes me a little proud of her. Hey, Hanako. Yeah? Still going ahead with your idea of traveling? She gives a determined nod. That's good. I'll be starting in a day or two. Naomi's decided to come with me too. Wow, quick start. Where are you two headed to first? I think we're going to start by north, then loop down and go southward. So, Hokkaido's going to be first? Oh no, memories from Hokkaido. She gives another nod, more tentative than the last. The significance of that place is not lost on either of us. Do you know how you're going to handle the traveling expenses and accommodations? Yeah, I've worked everything out. I think it should be okay. Naomi says she has her side worked out too. You know that if you need anything, you can just call, right? I gave you my number before. Any time of the day is fine, even 4 a.m. She gives a smile, which in itself feels like a small personal victory. I know. Thanks, Hisao. Maybe Lilly was right, although I may offer Hanako any help I can possibly give. I feel as if I know she doesn't need it. She really has grown. Hanako's plans for her holidays are in sharp contrast to my simple following of my parents' suggestion to stay with them. Holidays had always made me feel less excited than most, though, so maybe this is just a return to the status quo. Before my heart attack, I'd always lived so aimlessly that holidays weren't all that much different from my everyday life anyway. After school, I'd wander around a bit in the city, often hanging out with some friends, before making my way home to eat dinner with usually one of my parents, but rarely both. Their work schedules didn't leave much time for them to be home, and going there straight from school would have just meant that I'd end up feeling bored. I was an urbanite through and through. Since coming to Yamaku though, it feels like I've fundamentally changed as a person. The phone call with my parents erased any traces of doubt I might have held on that, in any case. While before I had exercised a fairly normal level of independence for a teenager, that being not a whole lot, my parents were more than pleased to hear of my newfound ability in taking care of myself. Laundry, cooking for myself, cleaning, all in addition to other general chores that come from living without parents around. Just little menial things that I've had to pick up, but with relative ease. When I think about it, I've always depended on them, even if they hadn't been at home all the time. To say I never depended on anyone after moving to Yamaku dormitories would be far from the truth though. Excuse me. The two of us look up at the awkwardly fidgeting figure in front of us. Some things never change. It's getting close to closing time, so oh right. I'd forgotten that the library closes earlier during the holidays. Hanako and I both get up and dust ourselves off, placing our books back on the shelf behind us. The fact that our tastes in reading material have a fair amount of overlap is useful at times. With a bow to Yuko to apologize for taking so much time, Hanako takes her leave of us. See you tomorrow, Hisao. Bye. And with that, she walks out of the large, wooden, aging door that heralds the entrance to the library. She's a quiet person, isn't she? I suppose I should be surprised at a staff member sharing personal opinions like this, but after knowing Yuko for a while, it's largely expected. Our relationship is more personal, rather than one with her acting as an authority figure. Yeah, I think that's just how she is. She's got a lot more confidence in herself these days, though. I don't know her as well as you do, but I think I agree. It's nice to see her talking to people here. She never used to do that before. Hey, Yuko, you know about Lily's leaving, right? She told me herself a few days ago. It must be hard leaving everyone behind like she is. She quickly looks back to me after she says this, probably remembering that I went to her for advice on the relationship between Lily and me before. Are you going to be okay? That's a difficult question. It's something I'd rather not think about for now though, given more pressing issues. Something seems kinda off about this whole deal, don't you think? Yuko appears to think for a while, absent-mindedly scrunching her face up in a variety of creative ways as she does so. I don't think I really know her well enough to make that kind of judgment. I'm sorry I can't be of more help. Nah, it's fine. I'm just sort of thinking aloud. I give a deep sigh and scratch my head in frustration. There's just so much stuff happening at once that I have no control over. It feels like I'm being swamped. I think everyone goes through times like that. What's important is to concentrate on what you can do, rather than what you can't do. At least, That's how I see it. If I didn't think like that, I don't think I'd be able to manage my life as it is. She says it with a smile and a light tone, but her words are far from any kind of joke. Being pulled between two jobs as she is, just to hopefully make enough money not only to live, but also for university, must be exhausting. Perhaps that's why, coming from her, this feels like it has more meaning than if it had come from most of us, or most others. I guess you've got a point there. Thank you for your advice once again, Yuko. She bows deeply and smiles again before making her way back to the counter where she spends so much of her time. The tiny wings of the cardboard crane in my fingers are only just visible in the dim light of my room. Just a little of the moonlight being able to peek through the curtains and around their edges. Oh, there it is. It's what Lilly gave us. I lie still in my dark bed for a long time, idly looking up at the little origami bird. It feels like a lot's happened since Lilly folded this, but at the same time, it feels like very little has changed. Compared to everyone else, I'm back to square one. I might have a newfound idea of where I want to go in life, but that's hardly something that affects me now. Hanako changed. I know that much. If anything, she just makes me feel like I've got no excuse to be like this, considering her previous situation. Lilly though. I turn the bird in my fingers another way, looking at it from yet another angle. When I first met her, she seemed aloof and perhaps somewhat distant. Her actions were always careful, measured, and precise, and her carefully maintained composure always gave the appearance of unerring confidence and serenity. In time, she became less formal, just a bit, but enough. It felt good to see her lowering her inhibitions around me and opening up, even just a little, of her own accord. It felt as if I was seeing her real self slowly become more vibrant and visible. Now though, I'm beginning to have doubts. Perhaps they're to be expected after what is effectively the two of us breaking up. They don't feel new or strange though, but rather like an old book being found and dusted off. I soon realized after meeting Lilly that she saw me as she did Hanako, as someone who needed help and care. At first, I simply thought that we'd be fine as friends, helping each other through our limited time together in school. But then I began to treasure our moments together more and more. From our quiet walks to our talking over lunch, the good sides of her personality became ever more obvious and ever more likable. The absence caused by Lilly's trip to Scotland to visit her long-distance family and sick aunt only made me realize how much I liked just being around her, and I had thought that she felt a similar way. For her, though, maybe that wasn't everything to our relationship. Even after she returned to Japan, that just meant she lost her family once again, after meeting them for such a long or brief time. She lived so much of her life without her family around, not to mention with Akira working long hours, that she had little choice but to be like that. I had thought her sense of independence to be a good and an admirable trait. It was in stark difference to my reliance on my parents before my heart attack, as reluctant as I may have been to admit it. However, it also meant that she never let people get too close to her. She lost her family, likely due to her blindness, went to a different school from anybody she knew because of it, and worked all the harder to make sure she didn't end up a burden on her sister and those around her. And now, Akira's going to Inverness, just like the family she thought she'd lost. She never told me of her plans, As conflicted as she was about them, Lilly didn't want to be a burden on anyone, including me. I'm an idiot. I never questioned it. I never tried to be there or asked when she needed me to. I just set my life up and expected it to stay that way forever, with the two of us having a nice long relationship where we pushed forward towards our future together. A small bit of frustration and anger at myself wells up in my chest. I just let everything happen, never even trying to help Lilly. That's true. I feel like that's a part that I've both kind of not really looked at as much. Just the fact, I feel like a lot of this relationship was always about always about Hisao or just the both of them, right? It wasn't that much about Lilly, but part of that is just because of the fact that she exudes this confidence, despite the fact that you know that she has a really obstructive disability, right? Being her blindness. But despite all that, you know that she gets around really, really well. Therefore, you almost start to think like she doesn't need help with anything or something, that she can just overcome whatever comes at her. But she's not Superwoman, you know? I mean, okay, she is Superwoman in my eyes, but she's not literally Superwoman, that she can do whatever the hell she wants and she has superpowers and stuff like that, you know? Obviously, she has her own weaknesses and has trouble dealing with certain stuff as well. But I just feel like, yeah, Hisao... I mean, Lilly doesn't really let that know, but maybe Hisao had some ways of finding out. I don't know exactly, but I definitely feel like could have paid a bit more attention to not only Lilly's side of the perspective, but also just trying to see if everything was alright with Lilly. But because you can always, come across to other people as everything is fine, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is fine. You can say it, and you can sort of say it not only with words, but also kind of your body language, but you can still have things deep down inside yourself that you're not really letting other people know. So, and Lilly obviously had that, but I guess Hisao he actually didn't pick up in it at all. Well, kinda. There was these little hints, right? The fact that she had this anger outburst, and then several other things as well. But I guess he just didn't really pay too much attention. If he's like, huh, what? That is weird. And I thought that too. I was just, okay, what? That is weird. What is that exactly? But we never tried to find out more behind that, when I feel like he definitely should have done that. And that might have not necessarily changed things, but would have helped this entire sort of change, and this entire course would have just been maybe more pleasant, more easier at least, for both of them. Just her being there was enough. I thought I could keep going on if that were true, but that could never have been enough. There was a childlike dependence on somebody, without any attempt to understand or help their situation. Thanks to that, I lost Lilly. I lost the one person I loved most, because I wasn't there for her when she needed me. With an increasingly angry feeling washing over me, I turn over and set the crane back on the desk, next to my clock, the place where it had lived since that day when she folded it for me. Since that day when she herself said that my burdens needn't be my own. The obnoxious bright red numerals on my alarm clock shine through the darkness of the room onto my tired eyes. 10 o'clock. Evening. Curfew will be soon. I wonder... Akira mentioned they'd be leaving this evening. I have no idea exactly when their flight is, but that means there's a chance, however small, that they might not have already left. Oh, Hisao, yes, go after her. Please do it. Adrenaline starts to move through my body as I sit up on my bed, my eyes suddenly wide with possibility. There's no guarantee they haven't left. Indeed, it's likely that they already have, but there's also a chance that they haven't, however small it may be. Just this once. Just as I should have before. I stand up and rush over to my cabinet, throwing out some clothes as fast as I can and sliding them on in quick succession. Go, Hisao, go, go! Each second that goes by is a second that I can't regain, a second that may mean the difference between catching them and losing them forever. Even if I fail, I have to try. I can't let her leave everything behind without even trying to stop her. Without, just this once, being there for her. With the last of my clothes slipped on, I hastily grabbed the phone off my desk. Luckily, the number for a local taxi company is still in my call history. Go, 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 come on! A gruff, unenthusiastic voice announces the name of the company while I pace around the room. It takes some effort to slow down my voice as I keep it clear over the phone. The chilly night air sweeps against me as I open the dormitory door, but nevertheless, I keep up my brisk speed as I half jog, half run out of the school gates. It may not be curfew just yet, but it's precariously close. If there were a guard around, there'd be no doubt have some questions for me, but it looks like I've managed to come out just before they arrive, or they're just around the corner. My pace picks up as I make my way through the school gardens. Their nighttime allure all but lost when I begin to run to the school gates. Wow, we actually never saw the park at night like this, and dang, it looks really beautiful, especially with the moon. The lamps of the courtyard, dim as they are, provide just enough illumination to light the way and prevent me from tripping over. The buildings themselves take on a rustic, almost antique-looking edge when I glance at them. Looking back, it seems strange that they once appeared so dark and looming to me, and now they just look to be somewhat anachronistic school buildings, the same way as any others bar their age. Leaving the gates behind me, I pull up to a stop just before the taxi, parked just as Akira's car had been. Its gaudy and brightly lit sign looks out of place in the quiet country backdrop. I patiently squeeze myself through the door, giving the driver the address for where the two should hopefully be staying. Oh my god. Holy shit, is she still gonna be there? Please tell me she's still gonna be there. Like, this is, the desperate act of love where Lilly is like, oh, Hisao, and then that might actually cause her to stay somewhat, This is something you see in movies, in soap operas, dramas, I don't freaking know. But this is one of those acts where we can win Lilly over. By the time the taxi pulls up, after its trip at maddeningly casual speed, it's well and truly deep into the night. The house is truly enormous, its sheer size much larger than I expected, and ominously still. Fearing the worst, I asked the driver to stay just in case my efforts are for naught. A single press on the fancy intercom system outside the gate produces a short electronic melody in the otherwise silent road. It's not long before a somewhat deep, gruff voice can be heard from it. This is the Hakamichi residence. Please state your name and why you're bothering us this late. I press on, despite inwardly wincing at the reasonable annoyance audible in his voice. It's Hisao Nakai. I was hoping to meet Lilly, or Akira, if they're still here. Surprisingly, I managed to summon quite some energy to my voice, enough to make the other side of the intercom silence. Oh god, a few seconds pass, but just before I press the button again and ask what's going on, a light turns on outside the front door. I strain my eyes to try and make out who is coming through, but as he comes past a large parked car with fishing rods sticking out of the back, his identity becomes clear. His face is typically placid and emotionless as he saunters up the gate. He's still childlike in his mannerisms, despite his demeanor. With the press of a few buttons from behind the fence, the gate slowly opens. Oh, who is it? Hideaki? It's freaking Hideaki. Hisao, what are you doing here? I think this is the most emotion I've ever heard from his voice. Not that it would be hard to reach that mark. Akira told me that she and Lilly would be staying here before they left for their flight. I need to talk to Lilly. Just one last time. Are they still here? The look on his face says everything. I failed. I was too late. The one time when I actually needed to act quickly. And... actually, it's possible. What? What is it? He's a bit taken aback by my fervor, but I can't help at this point. They left not long ago, only a few minutes before you arrived in fact. If you go straight to the airport, you might be able to... Hisao! I dart back towards the waiting taxi, grabbing what little money is left in my pocket as I go. Thanks, Hideaki! With that, I take a seat, and in short order, bark out my destination. To the airport! Oh my god, is it gonna work? Oh my god. My chest beats wildly as I tear down the street, my body twisting this way and that to slip between the pedestrians walking back and forth beside me. Move out of the way, people! With the road suddenly blocked by taxis and other cars, dropping off passengers and picking up others in the time they have to wait. We ended up having to stop almost a block away. But that's in the past now. What matters is reaching Lilly. One foot hits the ground, and the other quickly following without the slightest thought, as if my legs have taken on a life of their own, and all my mind can do is concentrate on the view ahead of me. Just one glimpse of that long hair of hers. That long, yellow hair that was the same color as the wheat that stretched as far as the eye could see. In the end, I depended on Lilly, just like Hanako did. Even after we started going out, it still doesn't feel like she really has ever let herself depend on me. Except for one moment. That one moment where we held each other tightly on that bright yellow field. At that time, she must have feared losing me just as she did everyone else. That's why, just this once, the night air wraps around me, draining every last remnant of warmth out of my body, to the extent that it feels more like midwinter than a summer night. My fingers, my hands, my feet, all feel increasingly cold. The sound of the passing crowds is reduced to no more than a background hum, while the sound of my shoes hitting the pavement echoes loudly. Every step searching towards the person I have to catch. Forced by my chest tightening in response to the cold of the night, I rest an arm over it to try and settle it down. Oh no. Come on, Heart. Don't fail me now. Come on. Not when we're so close. When the airport comes into view, though, I realize this feeling as one that I've felt before. Not now. Of all times for this. Please, not now. I take a gulp and soldier on regardless, pushing my body as far as it will go. Sweat pours off me as I hurtle forward, my shoulder hitting someone's side and my mind suddenly flooding with emotions and memories. I continue on without an apology. I have to keep moving now. If I stop, I'm not sure I could begin again. And even if I could, it would be all for naught if I'm not in time. I hit another person, and then another, offering little resistance to getting bounced about. My feet feel numb. My arms are losing all feeling. My chest forces me to hunch over awkwardly, tightening even more. Oh, that afternoon in the snow, that time when my life irreversibly changed. Images of Iwanako And that damned letter flashed over and over in my mind. The first love I'd lost thanks to my condition. I can't let that happen again. I don't care what happens to me anymore. I just need to see her one last time. There! Lilly! Oh God. A sliver of yellow and white comes into view some distance down the road. Her figure silhouetted by the lights emanating from the airport entrance. Lilly! 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 Stop, please! Lilly! Come on, Lilly. I know your hearing's far beyond north. My view suddenly spins out of control and ends up on the ground. My body haphazardly sprawled after hitting someone and stumbling over. No! Before I can assess the damage, an unbelievable pain ignites in my body. All my thoughts are blanked as I curl up and frantically clutch at my chest. Hey, are you okay? That fall was really bad. This pain, I can't. Any sharp knock could do me in. Any overexertion. I thought I could overcome my limits this once. Something's wrong with him! What's the matter? R? The voices of those gathering around me are gradually replaced by a loud ringing in my ears. By now, I'm unable to move my head. My eyes turn upwards to see the mute moving of their lips. Oh, fuck. Even as I clutch my chest, I realize I can't feel my fingers anymore, nor my feet. It feels like my entire body is shutting down, starting from my extremities. No. With one last effort, I turn my head down the road towards the airport entrance that's casting its light over me. Lilly is there, behind the crowd. Her head is tilted, but only just slightly. I can feel my vision dimming as I try to yell out, but nothing emerges from my mouth despite my best efforts. Slowly but surely, my vision begins to black out the scene before me. So, this is how it ends. I failed. I was so close, so very close. But at the very last moment, my condition seized my chance at a new life and dragged me back. And now I'm going to die, sprawled out just meters from an airport, with a crowd of babbling people surrounding me, and with Lilly leaving for Scotland just a little distance ahead. Lilly. That last word extinguishes the last of my energy. The world falls into a deep, inescapable blackness as every muscle in my body shuts down. I'm sorry, Lilly. I was too late. Oh, what? Oh my god. I don't even... Is this the afterlife? I don't fucking know, but there's one way of finding out. Yep. We're gonna have to save that for the next video, but holy fuck. I don't even know. Is this how really dead? What the fuck? The thing is, you're like, oh, that entire gesture, like, I can understand, like, the need for, especially because of his heart condition, right? He felt like before that his heart condition was sort of like stopping him from leading a normal life, but he didn't want his heart to have that much control over himself or his life. which is why he felt the need, especially even more so than before, to just push on, despite the fact that he knew his heart was just, tightening up, and that it was, you saw the red flashes on the screen. Like, the fact that he knows that it's happened and what that is eventually going to lead to, he still had to push on. And also because of, there was that one moment that he talked about, right, where Lilly sort of showed some sort of sign of, not necessarily weakness, but dependence on Hisao, which was that moment when they hugged in the wheat field in Hokkaido near Lilly's summer house, where she was just so scared of losing Hisao and sort of scared of just losing anything in general, right? And I don't know, maybe Hisao felt like he needed to show some sort of similar act towards Lilly to somehow make her realize, that, because the thing is, right, if she was so scared of losing Hisao back then, but then she's not scared of, I mean, obviously there's a difference between losing him as in Hisao is dead, or losing Hisao because, well, Lilly is leaving and Hisao's on the other side of the world. Obviously there's a big difference there, but still, you're sort of still losing that person, right? But I don't know, I just feel like it was such a beautiful act that actually didn't lead to much good, apparently, because Lilly, has she left? I don't know, he saw them from a distance, right? He saw them, and then he just fell down to the ground because his body couldn't go on anymore, his heart couldn't take it anymore, and then he was so close yet so far. I don't know if Lilly, like, I remember it was saying something about the crowd and that his eyes, he lost vision. It was, everything turned dark around him. But I wasn't sure from that piece of text, at least, if Lilly was like, if she was turned around and if she was, I almost said if she was looking at Hisao, but obviously that can't be possible. But if she noticed sort of the commotion that Hisao laying on the ground has caused, because it could be that his Akira and Lilly was sort of like saw what kind of happened behind him, like, huh, what is going on over there? And then they check out behind him, and then Lilly suddenly realizes that it's Hisao after Akira tells her, and then I don't know what's gonna happen, but I guess that's just stuff for the next video. That was really just an incredible sign of love and passion, and just fighting for the other person, not wanting to lose them, just showing that you care and love so much that you really don't want to lose them. And it would be so sad if it turns out to just be for nothing, basically, that it just turns out to be actually causes him his own life. That would be even sadder. And then Lilly just goes on a plane to Scotland. Fuck, I don't know, but we're gonna end this video here. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. And I don't know what you guys think has happened. Is Hisao dead? Is it gonna have a happy ending? I don't freaking know. I mean, this game is old. Some people obviously know, so maybe asking your opinion isn't that the best thing to ask. But anyway, I'm just really curious. Like, the white screen, it could mean like, oh, heaven, or that he just somehow got to the hospital. I don't freaking know, but we'll find out in the next video. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you then. Peace.